Tonight, we have to ask you to help on another, quite separate case. The victim is a 17-year-old girl. Our reconstruction starts in King Street in Hammersmith. The night of Friday the 1st of March has become the small hours of Saturday the 2nd of March.
I hadn't been in a good mood all evening, and I'd even been round with my best friend, who was that time of the month.
Coming to get something?
Oh, come on, it's 2:30. I'm not hanging around here, I'm going.
What's the matter with you? You've been in a bad mood all evening. We'll go and get something to eat and then we'll go.
Well, you go. I've had enough, I'm off.
Oh, Sarah, you can't go home on your own. Just stop being so difficult.
Look, I'm going to get a cab. You do what you like, OK?
But, Sarah, you haven't got any money. I've got your keys.
She hasn't got any money at all?
No.
You a cab?
Yeah, but I'm not working tonight.
Just let her go if she wants to
But
go.
I've got a keys. I'm supposed to be staying at her house. She hasn't got any money.
All right, I'll go and talk to her. Look, where are you going? You can't walk home on your own. Come back and wait for the rest of us.
Oh, leave me alone. I've told you I'm tired. I'm going home.
You're being really stupid. Come back and don't be so silly.
Get off me!
If you're going to be like that, forget it.
Do you want a lift? Do you want a lift?
Yeah. But I've got to go back to my friend. She's got my money and my keys.
She's just up the road. Where do you want to go to?
Chiswick Road. It's Victoria Street.
Sure, get in.
He was about 30. He had a young manner. He sounded like he had a London accent, with a hint that he came from abroad.
Was that your boyfriend you was with?
No, he's not my boyfriend.
Why were you arguing?
I've just been in a bad mood all evening.
He talked excitedly, wanting to know where I'd been, who I'd been with. Just general conversation, really.
Who did you go with?
There's a crowd of us that usually go, but for some reason I just didn't enjoy myself tonight.
I sometimes feel like that. You hear what I'm saying? What's your name?
Sarah.
What's so funny?
Nothing. It's just you remind me of a friend of mine who's half-caste as well. That's all. It's back there.
Oh, it's okay. We can turn just up here. Oh, it's a shortcut.
I want to go home.
He was wearing a silver watch with a black face and wearing a light-coloured shirt and blue jeans. He drove the car towards Green Dragon Lane in Brentford, and I told him that it was back the other way. He told me that he'd turned the car around, but instead he drove into the car park under one of the blocks of flats, where he raped me. Afterwards, he drove me home, and I was hysterical.
My mum, my dad, and my sister, and at the police station, and I was at home with my sister's friend.
Oh, I get it's probably the pizza man.
Right.
Does Sarah live here?
Yes?
Are you Sarah's sister?
No.
Is she okay?
Yeah, she's fine.
I picked her up in Hammersmith. She was outside the town hall. She was very drunk. She didn't know where she lived.
I thought she was taking a long time, so I went to the door.
She was fighting with a boy.
Was the boy she fighting with wearing a baseball jacket with Chicago on?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know who that was.
Is she all right? Hi, you Sarah's brother?
Yeah.
Hi. Is Sarah okay?
Yeah, she's fine.
Well, I just finished work and I saw her fighting with someone. It was by Hammersmith Town Hall. And
As soon as he said he'd picked up my sister last night, I realised it was a man who'd raped
away
her.
from him, you know. And she said, yes, I'd want to go home. So I said, well, get in. And she said she really wasn't sure where she was going. It's cold out here.
I was terrified of what he might do and shaking. But I didn't want him to know that anything was wrong and that everyone was at the police station.
Then she said, no, I didn't mean Brentford, I meant Hounslow. So we drove to Hounslow. Then she said, well, I don't live here, sorry. I says, seriously, where do you live?
I wanted to get a good look at him so I could describe him. He looked sort of Brazilian to me, with a very round face and square chin. His eyes were very distinctive, really small and piggy.
So we were driving around Chiswick, and I asked her, where does she live in Chiswick? And then she told me.
He was very jumpy and nervous, and he kept shaking and jiggling his keys.
So I let her out. Is she okay?
She's fine.
He smiled a lot, have massive grin lines.
Right, well, I'd better go.
It was like a fake smile.
Bye.
It's him, isn't it?
I know.
Bye.
Well, Mr. Lovering, the first question to ask you is why would the attacker go back to the victim's house the following evening?
This was not a logical action. On the one hand, I think he went there to see if his 17-year-old victim had recovered. On the other hand, I think he went there to see if she'd reported the rape to the police.
I suppose he needed to see if she'd recovered because, although we didn't show it in the film, he did use physical violence against her, didn't he?
That's correct, sir.
What's the description of the man?
He's aged 30, Mediterranean appearance, 5'7", afro hair, which is short. He has a round face and a square chin.
And we know certainly that he's of mixed race, possibly half West Indian or Southern European. Sarah described him as having a young manner. He's dressed quite youngly, but what did she mean about the young manner?
When she says aged 30 or thereabouts, he used various phrases which tended to show that he was young in his manner, his way, such as, you know what I say, you hear what I say.
She remembers he was wearing a distinctive watch. What was that like?
The watch is extremely interesting to us. We believe he wore it on his right wrist, which tends to show that he's left-handed. It had a black face, a silvery elasticated strap.
So that may have been worn on his right wrist, in which case he may have been left-handed. The car, we don't know the make of car, but there were a few distinctive points about it.
Unfortunately, we do not know the make. It was light in colour. It had, on its rear seat, small perforated holes. On the rear window, as you looked at it, there were sun blinds. Together, it tends to point to being a foreign car.
So there's a possibility it was a foreign car. I know you do feel that there's quite a deal of urgency in finding this man.
This man, I believe, has struck before. We do need to find him. If there are other victims out there watching this programme, I want them to understand they can come and contact me in all confidence.
And that there's going to be a sympathetic response?
The Metropolitan Police has completely restructured its investigative role in rape. We are compassionate. There are female as well as male officers who have been trained to look after victims of rape.
Well, Mr. Lovering, thank you. If you feel perhaps you've encountered this man, if you think you can help in any way, your call will be treated with absolute discretion. The essential thing is to prevent an attack like this happening to somebody else. To remind you of the number here, it's 081 811 8181, or the number direct to Tom Lovering's colleagues at New Scotland Yard is this one, 071 230 2301. That's 071 230 2301.